Really, Prime? Do better. Hello everyone, it's Taja here and I'm back with another banger today. Okay, so some of you guys may already be subscribed to him, but there's this popular YouTube channel named Trucking with Rex, a popular trucking channel. Now, for those of you who don't know, Rex is a now former lease operator at Prime. He is a lease tanker operator, that is. Now, he decided to ditch his lease to train students instead.
I'm switching over to company, and I'm going to be training. So, I mean, it is what it is.
But I do want to talk about a video specifically that he made a year ago entitled Watch Before You Go to Prime. So Prime's tanker division consists primarily of food grade items, food grade liquid freight, whereas Schneider's tanker division, we haul chemicals, either hazardous or non-hazardous, but my account specifically is 100% hazmat. And we also have like small food grade accounts. It's just rare that you see them. But for the most part, Schneider, we're hauling chemicals, and that's contrary to Prime's tanker division. But one unique thing about Prime's tanker division is that when they go to customers, the customers unload the freight for them. If you're an OTR driver, that's usually 50-50, and the account that I'm on, that is 100% driver unload. So I think that, Prime tanker drivers, they got it made for real, because I wish some of my customers would unload the freight for me, because, it does get complicated being a tanker driver at Schneider at times. But there is one thing about that video in Prime's tanker division that really does concern me. And part of the video, Rex actually exposes Prime's equipment, Prime's pumps. They're actually leaking, and the leak is pretty bad.
So yeah, if you don't want to get dirty, I don't recommend you coming over to the tanker side of Prime, because chances are pretty high that you're going to get dirty. You're going to deal with leaking pumps on these trailers. I already let my dispatcher know, emailed him, took a bunch of photos, let him know what's going on. I'll still be able to get this load unloaded.
So I really don't understand how this is normal personally, or really safe. But then again, Prime doesn't do hazardous materials. They do food grade. But at the same time, wouldn't this be like something deemed out of service? Like, wouldn't DOT get involved and shut the truck down? I don't see how Prime's dispatch okays this, especially given where, the company I work with, Schneider, they don't play stuff like that. Just one drop on the ground, that is considered a leak. You have to call a dedicated spill hotline in case something leaks, especially if it's that bad, like the tanker trailer that you see in the video. Even somebody else that commented on his video had the same sentiment I had. He's been driving for 15 years, and he said that he's never seen a leak that bad. If anything, you should be deemed out of service. But somehow dispatch okays that. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's acceptable to have to deal with such a big leak and still have to unload the product. Schneider, we have something called a stop work authority. If something doesn't seem right, feel right, you just call it, you just shut it down, you call in dispatch, and they'll let you know what to do and how to proceed from there. So in addition to leaking pumps, he also says in the video that prepare to get dirty when you come work for Prime and their tanker division, and that's also true for Schneider. This is just, the nature of the job. You are going to get dirty, which is why Schneider it's not recommended. You're actually required to wear long sleeve shirts and pants when you work in their bulk division, because, you don't want that stuff getting on you, even if it's not hazardous, even if it is food grade. And that's actually contrary to Prime and their tanker drivers, because I never see any of their tanker drivers wearing long sleeve shirts or pants, even if they are, dealing with food grade items. But I digress. Moving on, in addition to the leaking pumps and having to get dirty on a daily basis, if you notice something wrong with the pump itself from the front before you get, unloaded, before you get hooked up, Prime requires you to replace the pump seals. I don't really know how it works that much, but yeah, that's basically what Rex is describing in this clip.
They'll give you a bag of seals. So if you're a lease driver and the pump is leaking from the front, they actually want you to replace the seals, and no, they don't pay you to do that. So that's a downfall there.
See, that's the issue with the trucking industry right there. You don't get paid for all of your time. And these trucking companies, they don't value your time at all, because you work, 70-hour weeks, and you know, you do the math, you're probably making what, 10, 12, $14 an hour, if that. But yeah, that goes to show, you know, they don't even pay you extra to replace their faulty equipment. But yeah, I'm really scratching my head with this company. I'm kind of glad that I dodged a bullet by not going to Prime. They actually rejected me, and I'm actually thankful for that, because it looks like a lot of BS you got to deal with. Hey y'all, real quick, so I just wanted to cut in and say this. Okay, so I did say that you do have to deal with some BS in the Prime's Taker division. Well, in actuality, you have to deal with BS in Schneider's Taker division too. Specifically on the Ecolab account, you are going to work in all weather conditions. And if you haven't watched my previous video, I wear a green suit, this green suit right here, to unload freight from my truck, and you have to wear it no matter what, because the account is 100% hazmat. And I remember this one time they sent me to this customer, and it was probably, I think this customer right here is one of the worst customers on the account, because not only do you have to go up and down a hill, you can't even wash your hoses at the customer. So you over here like carrying around heavy hoses because the product's still in the hose when you're finished unloading, and you're carrying the hoses up and down a hill. And on top of that, the day that they sent me to that customer, it was freezing raining outside. So yeah, like I said, you gotta deal with BS, you gotta work in the element, you're gonna get dirty, just like in Prime Sector Division. So really, just choose wisely. He is a lease operator. Well, he was a lease operator, and it looks like Prime lease operators in their tanker division, they make a lot of money. I think he made one of the videos saying that he grossed or netted $95,000 as a tanker operator. Now, me personally, that's not enough to convince me to be a lease operator, because company drivers can make that money. I think Keenan Advantage Group drivers in their specialty division, they make $140,000 a year. And I remember watching a YouTube short from Dirty Broke's channel, a fuel hauler for Gemini Motor Transport. He made over $130,000 last year. So I don't think that $95,000 is enough to convince me to be a lease operator at Prime Inc. But that's just me. In addition, the starting pay for a Prime Tanker driver company is 57 cents a mile, yet they want 6 months experience. Why not start me off at 62, 63 cents a mile if you require 6 months experience to join your division? And I really do hope that the drivers, the tanker drivers at Prime, get accessorial pay, because they actually have to go to tank washes, and that could take some time, and they drive less miles than the reefer drivers and the van drivers. I think they average about 1,800 miles a week, if I'm not mistaken. That's about what Schneider tanker drivers over the road average. So, but they also get accessorial pay. So I hope Prime does something similar to what Schneider does in terms of paying drivers to sit and wait at tank washes and customers and whatnot. And lastly, this isn't in the video itself, but another thing that kind of turns me off about Prime is their training program. They call it the TNT program or whatever, but basically you have to drive at least 30,000 or 50,000 miles. I've heard both numbers, but whichever one it is, that's actually a long time to be in training with somebody else on your truck. I've been at Schneider for 5 months, and I've barely driven 20,000 miles. Now granted, I am off every weekend, and freight is still on the low side. I only average 12 to 1,500 miles a week. So that is that. But yeah, I wonder how long it takes to drive 30 to 50,000 miles. And given that, you know, there is a freight shortage, you know, countrywide in every division, I'm guessing it'll probably take anybody from anywhere from 3 to 8 months to, you know, finish their TNT training at Prime. I think that's ridiculous. But yeah, all that is absolutely ridiculous. 5 to 8 months in a truck with somebody else is absolutely insanity. You also have to deal with leaking pumps on top of that. And yeah, those are just my thoughts and feelings about Rex's video about watch before you go to Prime. If you like this video, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Make sure you check out Rex's channel. I'll put his channel in the description down below. I'm Taja Woods. Thank you for watching.